Hey guys, time to get in on the action for the biggest moments in basketball with Prize Picks, America's #1 fantasy sports app. Just select 2 or more players, pick more or less on their projections, place your entry, and win up to 100 times your money. Right now, Prize Picks will match your first deposit of up to $100. Just download the Prize Picks app and use the code GET100. That's code GET100 on Prize Picks for a first deposit match of up to $100. Prize Picks. Pick more. Pick less. It's that easy.
Okay, this is a 30-second commercial, and I'm going to throw a lot of numbers at you, but please stay with me. In just 15 minutes, you could save 15% or more on car insurance. This company has been offering great rates and great service for over 75 years, and anytime you need help, you can speak to one of their trained specialists 24/7. That company is Geico. Go to geico.com today. Sorry for all the numbers, and in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, I'm out of time.
Now, Podcast One brings you Spike's Car Radio, a downloadable cars and coffee, hosted by writer, comedian, and automotive enthusiast, Spike Ferriston. Now, here's Spike.
Welcome to Spike's Car Radio. Here we are in the middle of a gloomy, Juney morning to be with all of you. Zuckerman's here. He's checking his phone. He's getting ready for his busy Friday. Usually you're happy on a Friday, Zuckerman. Usually today's a day where I could just put a car under your nose and you will buy it just like that.
I think you're projecting. I'm perfectly happy, and you're the one who's having a difficult morning with the hiccups and the phlegm, whatever you got. I'm happy to be in a great mood.
All right. I don't believe you, but okay.
Okay. You're the one who needs a doctor. I'm fine.
All right. Calm down. Just stay calm.
Look at him calm. Look at him.
He's
trying to wind me up.
No, I'm not. I really am not. No, I mean, the audience loves you wound up. They love an angry... There's nobody out there that doesn't love an angry Zuckerman. It's one of the greatest shows on earth, is an angry Zuckerman.
Really?
They heard you on the porch in Malibu, yelling at the woman.
Okay. Okay, I did the world a favor with that woman.
Yes. We like it. We all like it. Just calm down. It's
nice sweatshirt.
Thank you. I'm wearing some of the Spike's Car Radio merch. I hope all of you are enjoying yours. The Blaupunk radio with the Zuckerman on there and the little Spike on the buttons. I didn't know. I had one little shirt for my son, and he said, "Thanks, Dad." And he said, "Well, wait, is it weird that I'm wearing my dad's merch?" And I go, I don't think so. This is James. He's 9 years old. And I go, I think it's kind of weird if I wear it. And he goes, no, that's cool. That's what Jake Paul does. You can wear your own merch, but it's not cool to wear your dad's merch.
This is a great conversation.
But you're looking at me now. You're calling attention to it. Is this weird that I'm wearing my own shirt?
No, I think it's very cool, and I think the audience needs to know that Spike placed the dials for the radio exactly where your lady's dials are. And so don't tell her, but the dials do fit perfectly.
This is an unintentional, and I did give a shirt to my wife, and she put it on. She goes, "What do you think?" And I said, well, the knobs.
The knobs. I do like turnips.
It wasn't the dial, it's the knobs.
I'll have a plate of turnips, please.
I didn't anticipate the Blaupunk would be so wide on a woman, and it highlights the knobs.
It's perfect.
But in the car world, right?
Well, come in Tokyo. Play it all day long.
We have a great guest on today. Bruce Meyer is coming on. He's an automotive legend in Southern California for the past, 40 years?
100.
Founding board member of the Peterson Auto Museum, and a couple other things that you probably don't know about. Also, just as exciting, if not more exciting, we will be chatting a little later on after Bruce to the fellas who started one of my favorite Instagram accounts, Bird Graveyard. They're the ones. You know what a bird scooter is? These are the guys who very quickly put up a site that shows people destroying bird scooters. And as you know, I'm not really a fan of all this tech garbage that's being dropped in everybody's yards. You swipe a credit card and then you go and kill yourself or someone else on a bike path. So I'm a huge supporter of what they do, and they, if you don't know who they are, check them out right now. So when we chat with them, Zuckerman, I don't know, by the way, if they're even going to tell us their true identities, because I know they catch a lot of hell for encouraging people to destroy these scooters.
They're fucking heroes. They should be celebrated. They should get some sort of freedom medal, right, for doing this. I really detest these things just being deposited in my world.
Well, look, you're a personal injury lawyer. Are you seeing cases?
Oh, my God. Absolutely. First of all, the things are half the time are defective. You think anybody's really maintaining these fucking things?
Well, hold on. They're Chinese scooters. You know that, right?
Oh.
No, don't do that. You can't do that. But
what did I do?
That's cheap. You almost did something, but it's okay.
Oh, okay. So
Don't.
Oh.
But no, tell us the cases you're seeing. I'm really interested in this.
Here's what happens. Okay, here's case number one. The scooters get deposited in front of somebody's doorstep, in front of a restaurant. They're left there, and some poor old person comes out of this business or their house and trips over it and breaks their hip. There are the unmaintained birds because no one's maintaining it. There's no squad of these, the Chinese manufacturers, Chinese minions coming to fix these things.
Well, you know how they charge them, right? There's this cottage industry of kind of homeless people that pick these up and charge them in the house.
Okay, well, do they take their homeless tools and fix these things and maintain them?
No, I'm agreeing with you.
Yes,
They're
it's
not
crazy.
doing anything.
It's insane. So I've got ones where they fall apart. They're broken. The fork comes off. The handles come off. They don't break. People get hurt. Then there are and here's what I really don't like. Idiots get on these things. They're out of control. And they run over somebody or they hurt themselves.
No helmets.
No, it's a free-for-all.
They ride them between cars everywhere. They've been putting the rules out there. Nobody follows the rules. And I'm seeing I've seen two kinds of accidents, all right? The tall, like a guy 6 foot or higher who comes down. And you know how you're kind of coming off a road and into another part of the road at an intersection and it kind of just dips a little bit? Right in that little dip, he's leaning too much forward, and he just goes flying like Superman.
Oh, yeah.
It's amazing how quickly they catapult tall guys. Landed right on his face. And the other one, of course, is the tourist, the
fat
chubby lady. Yep. Driving at about 20 miles an hour out of control and then right into people.
And she has panic, and then as a result, we would call that in cars pedal confusion. She just keeps giving it gas. She will swear up and down she was putting the brakes on, but no she was just accelerating
but I
into
understand
disaster.
the attitude. You land in a different city, you come out, there are these scooters. Oh, we'll ride these. This is what I'm supposed to do, and I think it's really negligent, and I hope these things stop. And now, have you seen on the west side just what's going on? There's bike chairs, there's electric, there's 8 different kinds.
Right.
They're all over
Yesterday
the place.
I was westbound on Olympic, and I went to make a right turn into my alley. Just as I was turning in, 2 young, I don't want to call them cocksuckers, but 2 young fucking assholes were speeding on these seated scooters, probably in excess of 15 miles an hour, and I almost took them out. And they gave me the finger.
Of course.
It took all my years of therapy and self-control not to go around the block and really run them over.
It would have felt good, right?
Oh, my God, I would have loved it. It would have been a hangover for sure, but at the moment, it would have felt so good.
I get when they first came out, of course, my kids were super excited. So we're like, we'll just find one in the neighborhood, and we did. But you put your hands on that grip, and it feels grimy. It feels like the rubber's already degrading and people's hand juice is on it. That's the first thing I did not like.
Oh, my God.
And then, like you're saying, the build quality was not there.
This is a great idea, Ferris. And you know how you've got like 48 hours or one of these news channels comes to the bowling alley and they test what's in the holes of the bowling ball, and they have fecal matter in there. They even had fetal matter in one of these things. Do you know what must be on the handles? Holy shit.
The black light test.
Oh, my God. There's got to be this black light, black plague on there.
We found semen on the foot pedal. We found semen on the wheel. We also found
Butt
semen
juice.
on the charger.
Semen mixed with anal juice.
There was blood. There was semen. And there was feces. Bird scooters. Yeah, we should test that. Let's do that. That would be great. Yeah, I would imagine beyond that, we're going to find all sorts of like viral contaminants, right?
Worse than those Dyson Airblades that supposedly clean your hands, but instead give you the HIV.
No, they blow the feces down, and a little feces farm starts beneath. Yeah, it's bad. It aerates feces.
Is feces worse than shit?
Well, I grew up in a medical family. That's what we like to say. Feces.
I once had a client that said it was covered in shit. No, it was worse than shit. It was feces. Now, did I just breach attorney-client privilege saying that?
Yeah, you did.
Okay, take my license away.
Well, they're not going to do it for that.
Did you confirm? Oh, there is Bruce Meyer.
Bruce is here.
Okay, here's one thing I want you to say. There is
you can ask him.
Urban tale
okay.
that he got his 275 GTB, or no, actually he got his GTO from a government auction. A seized drug dealer's car, and he got a GTO for $1 million. And I don't believe it.
Well, I know he has another Ferrari GTO story too. One of those stories that gives you the shivers. One of those things that we've all done when we pass on a car that turns out to be valuable. And we're going to get to those stories in a minute here on Spike's Car Radio. Let me tell you something. Did you know most people have no idea whether or not the motor oil they're using is good enough to protect their engine? Everybody's driving around not even caring about what's going on under the hood. Only one brand literally goes the extra mile to test everything, including ensuring they're the right motor oil for your car, and I'm talking about Valvoline. That's right, Valvoline is the only motor oil brand in the world with an engine lab completely dedicated to testing motor oil. Valvoline takes their products and their competitors, I might add, and runs them through the gauntlet. I'm talking thousands of miles. Then the engineers and technicians take those engines apart to evaluate exactly what happened. Please don't try this at home. Trust that Valvoline has done it for you. Was there carbon buildup? How did the seals hold up? Did the engine perform like it was supposed to? And most importantly, were the critical engine components protected? You don't know, but Valvoline does. So when Valvoline is formulating motor oil for your engine, they know exactly how it performs and what protects it best, because they've seen the results firsthand. It's why I trust Valvoline in my car, and it's why Valvoline has been trusted for more than 150 years. Head over to Valvoline.com/Spike to see what product is right for your engine. That's Valvoline.com/Spike.
You're listening to Spike's Car Radio.
All right, we're back here with Bruce Meyer. Bruce, we've been wanting to have you here for a very long time. If you don't know Bruce, he's a prominent businessman here in Beverly Hills. He's the owner of Gary's in Beverly Hills. He's the founding chairman of the Peterson Auto Museum, a story I want to ask you about. Bet you didn't know this, Zuckerman. Founding board member of CHP 1199 Foundation.
Really?
Did you know that?
I did not know, but
That's the special license plate you get.
So
And
he's immune to take. He's been inoculated from any tickets for the rest of his life.
Bruce, thank
Brilliant.
you for coming in.
Oh, Spike, it's a pleasure.
You really are a fixture here in the Southern California car scene. I think I first kind of heard of you years and years ago when I went to the Father's Day car show in Beverly Hills on Rodeo, Conquer on Rodeo.
Right.
When they were still judging cars, and I brought the 73 RS, the Tangerine car, and I won. And remember, and you drive up on the stage at that time?
Absolutely, right.
That was a really scary moment for me. I drove up on the stage. Sam Cabiglio is one of the judges.
So you
he
had
goes,
the
he goes, you're going to do very well today.
his former car. So of course
I
you
had never shown a car in my life. I had only driven them, and it was such an exciting day for me. And it's a great show, and that's your show.
It's a terrific show, and we started it 26 years ago. To raise money for the restoration of the Beverly Hills fire truck. And it used to be at Beverly Hills High School. Mm-hmm. So we had judges, we had classes, and that went along for a while. And then in the 90s, Ferrari needed a place to unveil their 550 Mondial Spider, whatever. So I was involved in closing Rodeo because I was just real involved there with the politics of the street. Mm-hmm. So we closed and we thought that has got to be the best place to do the show. So we did it there for a while. And that's when Andy Cohen and Jim Hull kind of ran it.
Jim Hall, the racer?
No, Jim Hall, the guy that drives green cars out in Malibu.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Different Jim Hall.
And a great
Can-Am green cars by any chance?
Hull.
Oh, okay.
And Jim Hall's one of my favorites as well. So, anyways, blah blah blah. We went along a few years. That thing just took a real bad turn, and so I stepped in just to save it, really. And that was a number of years ago, and. It's been going ever since, and it's a non-judge show.
Now, why did the judging stop?
I don't like judge shows. All it's going to do is with a judge show, you always go in with expectation. You always come away just a little disappointed.
Bad vibe.
And we've been doing it now for years without judging. People come in, they're happy. They have no expectation other than having a good time. The city has some kind of scientific counting apparatus. They have cameras everywhere. This is pretty spooky in a way. Last year we had 43,200 and some people there.
They could tell you that?
Yes.
Wow.
That's
and it was
weird.
down to the person. I mean, this is pretty creepy, but it's a massive show. It's by the way, it's the single largest one-day show in Beverly Hills, and it's huge. I mean, 43,000 is a lot of people, but it flows beautifully. It's free.
Right.
Everybody's there, proud of their car. We have great cars. I mean, really great cars.
It's one of my favorite shows for exactly the reason you're saying. Having won the show in my class, I've enjoyed it more when I'm not being judged. And it's
100%.
I've brought everything. I had a yellow Dino down there one year. I had my motorcycle down there one year. My Speedster, the '68 911L, the Volkswagen Bug, and it's such it's a no-brainer for dads. My wife doesn't ask me what to do on Father's Day anymore. She goes, "We're going to the show, right?" And I go, "Yep." And it's so easy to get in. And you walk down one row, you see these great cars, you walk back up, and then you have something to eat. It's really a great show.
It's great. And, it's so funny because I got a call yesterday from Jane Allen, Tim Allen's wife. And they want to bring Tim, there for Father's Day. That's the kind of day it is. I mean, we get a lot of celebrities there, And by the way, we do give prizes. And we give prizes like most outrageous, most fashionable, mayor's choice, police chief's choice, that kind of stuff. And Caitlyn Jenner gives like most outrageous, and did last year, and will again this year.
Awesome.
And so
Why
we
do you
have,
smile when you say Caitlyn Jenner gives most outrageous?
and I happen to be a huge fan. Bruce and I used to ride our bikes together.
He's a GT3 RS owner, right?
You guys, Bruce Canepa told me that it was you three Bruces would have a Bruce party in the 70s. I've heard tale of that.
That's right.
What happened at the Bruce party?
So you had to be Bruce.
Okay.
We had 20 Bruces and wives, and we all wore name tags, right?
And they all said Bruce.
And they all said Bruce.
Okay.
It was hilarious, and we had some pretty good Bruces. I won't go down the list of Bruces, but it was
Give me a couple
great.
of Bruces.
But and Bruce was
it Lenny
obviously
Bruce there?
Yeah.
Bruce Lee.
Bruce Lee.
We and when Bruce left us, we stopped the party because he was really one of the star guys. But by the way, I want to mention one thing with regard to my bio, which
does he have Caitlyn parties?
I don't know. But by the way, Geary's in Beverly Hills is run by my nephew, so it's still in the family.
It's still in the family.
But I want to give him full credit. He's a hardworking young guy. He went to work for me when he was 13.
Right.
So he's really the guy there now. So don't come asking me for your stainless Daytonas or your super.
That's right where I was going. All right. First of all, I'm
Nice.
wearing the blue-black GMT Batman in your honor today.
Nice.
Because I bought this watch. This could be the last time something like this was in your window in Century
That
City.
is a handsome watch.
So this was maybe 5 years ago. I was walking through Century City with my wife on my birthday or close to my birthday, and I saw this watch, and I go, what the hell is that? And the lady said, it's a new blue-black GMT. And I go, well, I think I want to buy that. It's got Dodger colors, and I'm going to the game in a couple of days. And she said, well, you better buy it now. And I go, well, I want to think about it. She goes, no, you better buy it right now. Everybody wants these things. And I thought, wow, Bruce's people really know how to sell.
Bruce's people. We're back to Bruce's people.
They really know what they're doing. But I'm not going to fall prey to that sales pitch. And as I'm handing the watch back, a guy reaches over my shoulder and goes, I'll take it.
Oh, you're kidding.
And I go, excuse me. He goes, yeah, no. Do you know what that is? I'm going to buy it. And I go, never mind. It's mine. I want it right now. And I had no idea. And now, you can't go to Sardinia's Rolex and get one of these things.
Isn't that something?
It's like a 3-year wait.
The whole Rolex phenomenon is amazing. It's it's the most fabulous marketing. And we have 4 Rolex stores. So
fabulous is one way to look at it. Don't you sense your customers are getting frustrated? Like, how long really is the wait for the new blue-black GMT?
You need scarcity or the appearance of scarcity, even if they could make as
but
many.
But I want to hear from the guy who's selling them what's the idea there? Because you hear 3-year wait, and then don't you worry people are going to lose interest?
Truthfully, I'm mystified by the whole thing myself, because there was a time when we could sell, GM, we could just sell watches. People would come in and we'd work to sell watches. Now it's like, take a number and we'll call you when we're ready. Right. And it's crazy, and it's a great watch, and it's a handsome watch, and it's a brand, and it's wonderful for us especially. But they have done the most amazing job of marketing, lifestyle marketing, the people that wear Rolexes. Look you're wearing a Rolex. That's pretty cool. Paul? Rolex?
Daytona, right.
Daytona. So, there you go. All the right people are wearing them. Everybody wants one. It's like people aspire to these. And Rolex knows how to market. They have reduced doors. They have, reduced outlets. And they are so protective of who sells their product.
Right.
And I think it's brilliant.
And how did you get in? How do you get a Rolex dealership?
Well, it's not easy. You have to be. Well, Geary's has been, where they are. We're approaching 90 years now.
Right.
And we've kept our business at the very highest level in service and product, and we're just unique in the world. We are the oldest business in Beverly Hills now. It's still family owned too, and so our reputation, like globally, is huge. My nephew runs it beautifully. He's a good operator, and they do need outlets. So we started with Rolex in our main store on Beverly Drive, and we did such a good job for them. We don't mess around. By the way, I could tell you there's outlets here in town that, like the new Pepsi, that watch.
We all want that.
Yeah, everybody wants it. But they're selling for like 2x.
More.
And there are Rolex dealers that will sell them to family and friends and then resell them. It's like the old Ferrari days.
Yeah.
We've never done that. We sell it to the end user at list price. We take no premium. And
is it first come, first serve, or is it best customers serve first?
Kinda.
Yes.
Yeah.
What about you? If you said I wanted the new one, would they get you one?
In the store, they have an FOB, friend of Bruce,
Yes. I've tried that, by the way. And it works. It used to, at least.
Yeah.
I haven't tried it lately. But
that's fun. So we obviously want the right people to wear our product.
Right.
And I remember there was an article about, must be 2 years ago, about a dealer that was very upset with not being able to get Rolexes, so forth. And so they wrote an article about the LA Times about it started with Ferraris, like, why can't somebody just go up and buy the right Ferrari? But you've got to buy 3 Ferraris before you get the right one. And I said, one of the reasons is Ferrari is trying to select their end user. They want the right people to have these cars. They don't want the dealers to put a huge premium on them. Because like when the La Ferrari was out, dealers were playing games. You got to be really careful with your reputation. And there are other supercar makes that will just sell the cars to anybody, and the demographic of their customer is not one that you would identify with. So it ruins the brand. You know what I'm saying?
It's a delicate act.
It's a delicate balancing act of getting the right people. The Jackie Stewarts and the Roger Penske's and the Paul Zuckermans and the Spikes. Seriously, to wear Rolexes.
After Penske.
Listen, but those are guys that have built the brand, and it's a lifestyle. And so Ferrari has done a decently good job, of minding their lifestyle, the lifestyle brand.
I don't know. We
Rolex
went
is
to a Ferrari party the other day in Pebble, right? Was it last year or the year before where there were some questionable humans?
Well, what I like
90-year-old men with straw hair and teenage stripper girlfriends.
The age disparity between man and woman was fantastic, but I will
That's
say
part of the
that
Ferrari brand.
that the party they threw was really great for the 70th anniversary, whereas you went over to Porsche and it was like, now we will be auctioning
Yes,
the
here we
glasses.
go.
Everyone quiet, please. And
So,
at Ferrari, they're serving Vouv, and they brought in a barista from Modena, and they really threw a great party.
They threw an emotional party. It was
Right.
very emotional and very red. And the Porsche party was very engineering, and it was all engineering oriented, but it was also fun in a different sort of way.
Porsche's done a great job of minding their product.
They know how to get the money out of us.
So we did an event at the Peterson about probably a year and a half ago, and we had Keith Martin from Sports Car Market, Jay Leno. We had Rob Myers from RM Auctions. We had a great panel of enthusiasts and dealers and auctioneers, and so we were discussing like the past, present, and future of collecting, and it all came down to one word: Porsche.
Really?
Right.
It is amazing. So my son is 42. He's a total Porsche file. I'm 78. I'm a Porsche guy. I mean, Porsche's done. We can kid about the Germanic part, but boy, if there was a brand that has managed itself well, and we did that event at the Peterson Porsche Effect, the Porsche effect on marketing, on style, on continuity, it's massive. And look at Paul. You've got a Porsche, don't you?
A couple. The great thing is, and Spike will attest to this, because when we met, I had, I think, an E-Type Jag, and I had a 62 Corvette, and that's where my tastes ran. And I thought Porsche was for, rich.
By the way, it's Porsche.
Porsche. I'll say it
thank
for
you, Bruce. Thank you.
And I was.
When somebody says Porsche, I go, ooh.
I know. I've been trying.
I've always said
But
it.
Paul, it sounds so good coming with that,
It
I always
keeps
said,
them
I
up.
just don't want to say it the way the Germans tell me to say it. There's a reflexive
That's your one.
It's my one thing but you can get in a car in one of these Porsches for Bruce.
Yeah.
I'll do it for
thank
Bruce.
you.
Not
Thank
for you, Spike.
Everybody
for Bruce.
listening just went, yes, finally.
Okay, I'll do it for Bruce, but you can drive these things. You cannot drive a 58 Corvette and say this is a great car. You say I'm driving a buckboard.
Yeah.
I'm driving just a stagecoach with an engine, and you get into a Porsche and you say wow, I can drive this anywhere, anytime, anyhow. And that's, I think, their greatest point.
We're victims of our own success, Zuckerman. We have to take another break. We'll be right back with Bruce Meyer and more Spike's Car Radio. You know what I love more than cars? Nothing. But cats are close, especially my cats, Jupe and Zazu. They are awesome. And you know what I love about them? They jump on me in the middle of the night and scare me, and it makes me laugh. You know what I don't love about them? Is cleaning up their litter box, which is why Arm & Hammer created new Cloud Control Litter. There's no cloud of nasties when I scoop. It is 100% dust-free. You know what I'm saying? You breathe in that cat poop dust, who knows what's happening. This cat litter is free of heavy perfumes and helps reduce airborne dander from scooping. So what happens in the litter box stays in the litter box. New Cloud Control Cat Litter by Arm & Hammer. No more cat litter dust. More power to you.
You're listening to Spike's Car Radio.
All right, we're back in. I know, Zuckerman. We have a lot to get to, and we're going to go long today. I hope you're all right with that.
Well, I've got 10 o'clock appointments, but it's worth. But they can wait.
Okay, they
My
can wait a
clients
little
can
bit.
wait for Bruce.
All right, Bruce. Let's get. We just want we want to get into a lot of these stories. I want to hear and boy, there's so much. I'm looking down this list.
Man.
All right. Quickly, let me get to a small one. You're 77, 75 right now?
I'm 77 now. I'm just going to turn
All right.
78.
Here's my question for you. Do you approach the car hobby differently at this age? Because I bumped into you a year ago, I think, in a back alley in Beverly Hills, and you had an old Bentley that you had just taken through Amish country, and it was filthy, right? And you said, I don't clean these anymore. I'm at the age where I just drive them. I want to know, what are your car rules now? How do you approach it?
Okay, so I say I've gone into preservation mode. When I turned 75, there's just something about your, how you're put together, how your mind works, all of a sudden you start feeling your age. I've never felt like an adult. I still don't feel like an adult, by the way. But so I went into preservation mode, and I've stopped riding motorcycles because I've just had some friends that just have had horrible problems lately. Stopped riding motorcycles. I've run Bonneville for years.
You stopped at what age?
75.
That's awesome.
And I thank
That is
God.
awesome.
Thank God that,
Yeah,
I made it this far. I mean, I
Yes,
dated
sir.
my wife on motorcycles. My whole life was motorcycles. I raced motorcycles. I mean, I am. You've been in my garage.
Yeah,
I got
yeah.
motorcycles. I love motorcycles, and I love some of the bikes on your.
Wow.
I want to.
You have to come down to see
I
it.
want to see them because I'm crazy about
Okay,
motorcycles.
so no bikes.
No bikes. And I stopped running Bonneville, which was like a big part of what I loved.
Right.
And my car just sits there looking at me and say, let's go, you know. And I stopped skiing. I don't want to get hit by a snowboarder.
But I'm talking more about the car hobby. Like,
well, and
are
I
there
don't.
any
And
other,
okay, so and I'm just not looking for anything for sure. I don't want to acquire any new cars. That being said, stuff finds me. You know, I bought that 910 just a little bit ago. I'm just a huge fan of Le Mans. And so cars that have any nexus to Le Mans really appeal to me.
yeah.
I don't want to get into any long-term restorations because I mean I don't know how long I've got left. And you know,
Right.
and you know they don't go quickly. I mean,
Right.
somebody said, "Why?" You know that. Okay.
That's 3 years. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't know
Tell
if
us
that
the
answers your
story.
question.
And I always get the details wrong, but at some point in the past, you acquired Steve McQueen's 58 Speedster, correct?
Yes.
Black,
Rudge
wheels.
wheels. Looks just like Zuckerman's.
Looks just like Zuckerman's.
Twins.
And Steve McQueen caught wind of this. First of all, where did you buy that car?
So I
the
bought.
60s?
It was definitely in the
Stay
60s.
just stay on the mic there. So
It was in the 60s. I was at a car show, and I remember it was somewhere out in the valley, and I forget where. It was at a high school. You know, back in the old days, they would just throw car shows.
Right,
over.
right.
And I saw this beautiful black Speedster. Now, I started driving Porsches in 1961, so I've always been a fan of Porsches. So I saw this little black Speedster. It just checked every box. You know, black Rudge wheels. Just fell in love with it. $1,500.
oh my God.
Yeah, right.
They had a for sale sign on it.
Or the guy just mentioned that he'd sell. I forget. It's been so long ago, but I bought the car, and then as I'm buying it, he said, "You know, this used to belong to Steve McQueen." I go, "Great." You know, I think he was doing the Rifleman or something.
So what? Let's stop right there. What does that mean? Because we weren't back there at that time. What does that mean in that moment? Did his celebrity bring anything to the value of the car? Did it mean anything?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Nothing. I would have paid nothing extra.
It didn't matter to you,
Didn't
even though
matter.
he's huge, right? At that moment?
No. I mean, you know, maybe Clark Gable might have meant something.
Right,
but,
okay.
But Steve McQueen was just like a TV
He's too
guy.
new.
And
He's like
I
Joey
would-
Fatone.
Absolutely. And so I was racing motorcycles in the desert and that kind of stuff, and Steve was out there with Bud Eakins and all the cool guys. I mean,
Yeah.
You know, we all knew who he was. I mean, he was cool, but it didn't
didn't
add
register.
anything to
Okay,
the
that's
So I
cool.
had the car for like 10 years. I had it serviced up in Bob Smith in Hollywood.
Mm-hmm.
Pete Smith ran that dealership. And that was the go-to place. You know, if you didn't live anywhere near who's the guy down in Manhattan Beach? Voshik. If you didn't live near Voshik, I mean, it was like Voshik Pollock and Bob Smith Porsche Audi. So Pete Smith mentioned to Steve, because Steve kept his cars there. You know, by the way, you know, Bruce Meyer has your old Speedster. And Steve said, no way. You know, that car, I sold it to a stockbroker or something. It's just gone, you know. So he says, no, I think he does. So anyway, so I get a call from Steve, you know. Hi, Steve. Bruce said, Steve, you know, I hear you have my old Speedster. And I said, well, that's what I understand. You know, I love it. You know, he said, well, I'd love to see it. I go, great. So my wife was definitely in on this trip. We went out to Westwood because he was living in Malibu and I was living in on the west side as well. So we met out in Westwood. I'll never forget, some little residential street. And I pull up in this car and Steve just like charges the car like, oh my God. And he comes up and he tears the carpet, you know, which is glued down, just like hello, you know.
Defacing your car, vandalizing it.
and he tears the carpet up and he said, that's where my roll bar was. And he said, let me see under the bonnet in the front. And I opened it up, and back in the old days when the guys were racing cars, they recapped the tires. It wasn't like you'd go down and buy a new, Goodyear or something like that. So there was a famous recapper named Gardner Reynolds, and I still had his Gardner Reynolds recap. Well, Steve just went crazy happy, and he says, "You got to sell me this car." I said, "I don't want to sell the car. I love the car." My wife says, "Don't you sell that car? You love that car." So, I said, "Steve, it's just really not for sale." Well, he called me like every week for like 3 months, and
Was it
I
late
just
at night or early in the
just
morning?
during. Yeah, I'd love to say it was at midnight. No,
Did he
it was
make his own calls?
I forget. Oh yeah, he made his own call.
It's Steve McQueen.
Steve
Bruce,
McQueen.
it's Steve
Yeah,
McQueen.
Steve, look at. I mean, you don't understand what this car meant to me. I bought it new, and it was on. I have so many memories.
Oh
and-
man, that's
So
seed
he
theory,
just-
Zucker.
yeah.
It's
Yeah,
seed theory.
he
You
planted the
eventually
seeds.
you plant the seeds, and the seed blossoms
Oh
in
yeah,
Bruce's head. And
well,
he's
it was
got-
more like the water torture, and it was just like every week. And I thought, you know what? I said to my wife, I said, you know what? He really, this car really means something to him. I'm going to sell it to him, and just with the idea that when he's done with it, he'll sell it back to me, and that's the way we did it. And I
There's
sold.
a great picture of the two of you. If you Google Steve McQueen's 58 Speedster, you'll see some very early pictures with him with a gal in the car, very classic looking, late 50s.
Neely McQueen.
And then you'll see him even fixing it or washing it. And then there's a picture of you and Steve. And I think there's a dog. Is there?
Yeah. The dog has got his nose right in my private parts, and so I've taken a lot of heat for that.
It's a great shot. What
it's
an iconic shot.
It's a fun shot, but and so I was happy that he got it back. And I sold it to him for $18,000. I thought, that was market price back in the 70s, And
He made a little money.
And so,
perfect
it
experience.
wasn't. I loved the car. So there was I forget the fellow's name, but there was a Porsche finder out there that could find anything. I said, "Will you just find me another super black Speedster, Rudge wheels if you can? I'd like to get one back." So it was like 6 years later, he called me from San Diego. He said, "Bruce, you're not going to believe this. I found exactly the car you're looking for, a black super Rudge wheel Speedster. Do you still want one?" I said, "Absolutely." I want to say I think I paid 30-some thousand for that car. So
Is that the same car I own now?
No, it's the car I own now.
Oh, but that's a 57.
Mine's a 58 Super. And it has a hard top. I put a hard top on it.
Right.
Wow.
And it's a twin to your car.
Right.
Twin to your car. Anyways.
Well, how many black super
Yeah.
Rudge wheel cars were there?
Yeah.
Three.
By my count.
Yes.
Anyway, so that's the story. And of course, he passed on and went to Chad. It's the only car that Chad kept. And I'm happy he has it. At the end of the day, I'd love to own it still because I still love the car. But
I've seen it and sat in it and stupidly turned down a ride in it. Was I was shooting with Chad?
well,
out
if you
there.
want to ride mine, it's exactly the same.
You know what I want to
Or
ride
close.
of yours.
Yes.
Well, we all know what that is. It's from 1961, and it raced in Le Mans.
Or the-
Ferrari.
Yes.
Oh, the short wheelbase.
Short
Oh,
wheelbase.
But
Ferrari.
I got to give a shout out.
That's the car. I want you to leave me, Dad. That's the one.
I don't know when the show airs, but I hope your listeners will stop by the Peterson Automotive Museum.
Well, we're going to post this next Wednesday.
Oh, perfect.
But if you want to promo the Father's Day show, which is this weekend, we can cut out a little piece and I'll put it out on my social media.
Okay, well, just between us, it's Sunday, and I think you all know it's Father's Day on Rodeo
Yes.
Drive. Free show.
It's the greatest.
It's the greatest. Lots of celebrities, and Spike will be there and Paul will be there. So
We're gonna be
come
there.
see them live. It's
and
just
it's been,
fun.
here's what I'm excited about most of all. It's always a nice, bright, sunny, warm day, and it's been so cold in LA that I'm
We're
hoping
happy
this
that
year.
it's going to be in the 70s.
Yeah,
It's
no,
going
I
to be
know.
a perfect
it can
day,
be a
cloudy. It's
scorcher.
not going to be a
Right.
beach day. It's going to be
Yeah,
a
yeah,
rodeo
yeah.
drive day. So.
And it's so, when did you start bringing the cars in? Around 6 a.m.?
yeah.
That I've gone at 6, I've gone at 2. It's perfect because there are shops there. It's like that Carmel show. There are shops for the wife to go to if she's not a car person, and she shops. You and the kids can do your thing, and everybody's happy. And it's easy in and easy. It's such a perfect little show.
And people watching, oh my God.
Yes.
The best.
Rodeo Drive, Father's Day, Concours on Rodeo, they call it. You got to go this weekend. And if you're listening right now, you missed it. I'm sorry. You'll do it next year. All right. Okay.
So I wanted to do a shout out for an exhibit, 2 exhibits that we have at the Peterson, just real quickly. One is Winning Numbers, because you mentioned the short wheelbase.
Yep.
So that's in the exhibit. It's called Winning Numbers, the first, the famous, the fastest, or something like that. But it's in our gallery, the Meyer family gallery. And so if you want to come visit your short wheelbase, you can sit in it.
It's there.
It's there. And so is the Bitserini, and if you
I've seen that there.
Oh, God.
The Peterson is on Fairfax in L.A. It's a giant car museum. Well, that's the question. That's the question I had for you as the founding member or chairman or whatever the title is. What is that story that it used to be a department store and you said, hey, it was bankrupt, let's just throw some cars in it?
Well,
is that how
sort
this came
of like
to be?
that. So that it really goes out to Robert E. Peterson. And he was always a hero of mine. He started Hot Rod Magazine. So I grew up in Hollywood. I loved hot rods more than anything. And I'd heard of Robert E. Peterson, never met him, but it turned out at the end of the day, we were neighbors. We were in a group called YPO together, some executives, and so we'd become great friends. And I loved Pete. God rest his soul. He loved the bargain. He loved opportunistic buying, and that where the Peterson is today, that was a Seibu. It was a Japanese department store.
Wow.
And it was really a real turning point. And
Seibu. Have you ever even heard of that?
And they couldn't give it away.
No.
And what is it worth?
So then it became Orbox.
Right. Old Orbox.
See, and it's right across from the May Company. So, this was the gateway to the Miracle Mile, which had, Desmond's and Phelps, Turkel, and all. I mean, this is the area I kind of did this was, a very big shopping street. So you had Macy's, Orbox, and it thrived, and then Orbox went out, and it lay dormant, and Pete found the building. He found the building. He came to me and he said, Bruce, this would make a very cool car museum. He was just trying to think, why do I need to buy this building?
And you said, huh?
And I'm addicted to cars, so he whispered it to the right guy. So. Hence, we both of us were board members of the Natural History Museum, so it would take a whole podcast to go through how it happened. But the Natural History Museum had an alliance with the Peterson Museum. We put it together, and blah blah blah. And then it was a perfect mismatch because the Natural History Museum is so not cars.
Right.
It's just unbelievable.
No.
I mean, it was like oil and water. It was the worst.
Yeah, it's mite-infested raccoons stuffed and old bears missing claws.
They hated us. And
dioramas
of cavemen with
exactly. And
mites on their
when
face.
we opened the Peterson for the first 20 years, we had dioramas. We thought that was like cool stuff.
Yeah.
Now we don't have a diorama in the place, which is a great thing. We got all the new tech stuff. But the dioramas, when we for 20 years we had like Main Street and we had a billboard and the Puppy Dog Cafe and the dealership,
I get it.
So that it really it worked for the first month.
Yeah.
And then we found that that almost everybody that came to the Peterson Museum was a first-time attendee, which you think that's cool. We're appealing to new people. And wrong. You want people to repeat and repeat and repeat. And now, so we forecast 1 million people. We didn't have a clue. We thought, well, 1 million people come through there, $10 a head. We can make this work. Well, for the first 20 years, I think we hit 140,000 people. It just wasn't working. Now we could have 500,000 people through there this year. I mean, it is working. We're making money.
You changed
our exhibits.
Well, it's the centerpiece of car culture in Los Angeles. You
and
have
beyond.
events there every weekend. You have cars and coffees. I've done panels there. I've come in. I love those little, what do you call them, dream team meetings where we all sit down and talk about exhibits and your stuff and come up with ideas to make it interactive. Let me just talk about a couple of the events they have going on there right now. Hollywood Dream Machines is there. Vehicles of Science Fiction and Fantasy.
Unbelievable.
It's an unbelievable exhibit, right?
Unbelievable. If you like Mad Max, if you like Star Wars, if you like, Orange, Clockwork Orange, we have motorcycles and cars that the world has never seen. We shipped the cars from Mad Max
up
to the Peterson.
So what was the turning point? What made you guys go aha and change the paradigm of how you were exhibiting these things to make it appealing? What was
Really good question. Do you have time?
Yeah, if you go. Okay. I want to ask, but we have to get to GTOs and 275s.
Right. Okay.
And we've got a little time here.
But that's a really good question because, so I was the founding chair. I was chair for the first 10 years, and I brought in some of my buddies on the board, and it was pretty casual. And Pete was there, and it was kind of like Pete's garage. And Bob Peterson would buy a car, and we'd put it in the basement, and it was just a toy box for Peterson, and we did the best we could by bringing in exhibits. And it was a museum, and it was whatever the tax status 501c3. But really, we were just getting old and long in the tooth. And frankly, our board members and I was getting, we were all getting a little long. Well, David Sidoric, who's one of our board members and a good friend, we just came to the conclusion. And by the way, Peterson had died, which was unfortunate. But in a way, his being inhibited certain things because he didn't want to spend any money on areas that David and I thought we needed to spend money on. So we decided let's go big or just not go. And people would pass by that building for a lifetime and never knew what was going on inside. So David was at a somebody's home in Italy with a fellow named Robert, with Gene Cohen, RKF, big-time architectural firm, and they started talking about, well, how can we jazz up the Peterson?
Stay close to me. Yeah.
And okay, good.
Yeah.
And Porsche, we're
Yes.
all good.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
So anyways, we decided that we were going to just reinvent that museum, top to bottom. We literally took out every nut, bolt, cotter pen, washer, everything out of that museum, stripped it clean.
Yep.
Took all the displays out and rewrapped it and redesigned it and reinvented it. And it is working. And so it was a big step. It was $113 million.
Wow. That's what the renovation was.
I'm drawing a blank on the bank that helped us, but we have a great
They're going to be out
great
of
loan.
business next week. It doesn't matter.
Oh my God, Fidelity.
They were a Russian bank of some
No, it was
kind.
Fidelity.
What
It
were
was.
they?
Oh my God! I want to give them a
Alpha.
shout out, and I just can't think of it right at the moment.
Well, they're not listening. It's all right.
Okay, yeah, the bankers don't care about us.
But it's cool. I'm looking at all these Hollywood Dream machines, and it's funny. I when I was at the last Dream Team meeting, you guys were going through this, and that you were going to do it, and I ended up hearing about it from moms. They're like, "Oh, this is great. The Back to the Future car thing is there." And for parents listening, this isn't. You're going, well, my kids are too young. They're not going to be able to touch. No, there's stuff to touch. They have a whole room of stuff to touch. There's all this interactive stuff there, and now is the time.
It's really
bring your
appealing
kids
to
this
all.
museum.
And by
Yeah,
the
it's
way,
great.
right along with this thinking, when you go to the Peterson, look around at the demographics. You will. I mean, there's every ethnicity, gender, age. It is unbelievable. I took a group of friends by there just this week, and I said, I want you to look around and just look at who's here. These are mothers and children, every imaginable demographic, and in a nice mix. In the old days, it was all guys like me in T-shirts and Levi's and hot rods and that kind of stuff. We have turned the corner, and hence the Porsche effect. That was Wolfgang Porsche, the chairman of Porsche, who now is my new best friend. He literally brought that exhibit to us and paid us handsomely. We're going to be unveiling a big new car. I can't say it on the air because I'm sworn to secrecy, but I mean, people are coming to us now because they want to be part of the Peterson. That is a big shift for us.
What
Go ahead and
brand?
tell
What
us.
brand?
I don't want to tell you.
Come on,
I'll tell you off the air.
And then we'll tell you folks at home on the air.
But
We
that's
don't keep secrets very well,
No,
Bruce.
okay, then I
We're
better not
reporters.
Okay, I'm not telling you. But that's kind of what's happening there. We are just the epicenter for the autumn. And by the way, the area is the gateway to Museum Row now.
Right.
We've got
It's
unbelievable. It was just total serendipity. We are by the way, our architecture. the L.A. Times architecture critic, when we first opened, gave us the worst review imaginable. He said, it looks like Bob Peterson's thumbprint. It's the Edsel of architecture. He just went on and on and on.
Edsel of architecture.
This guy is getting a paycheck.
Clever. No, this guy's gone now.
There's payroll for
this
an
guy's now
architecture critic?
writing for a long-term trucking magazine, long haul trucking magazine.
I can't even. TV critics aren't even getting paid anymore. The architecture critic, who is that guy?
We now win architectural awards. Everybody knows we're the only building in the world that looks like that, and I think it's fabulous. You know?
It's cool.
All we told the architect was make it red and chrome because we, in keeping with
visible.
Hot Rod magazine, and he did it. It was great.
Cool.
So it's working.
All right, here's the story I want you to tell, because I think everyone will relate to this story about the big fish, the car that you passed on that you regretted. You once told me a story that you had a little bit of money back in the day to buy a car, and you were looking at a 275 Ferrari, right?
Right.
You had $10,000 to spend on a car, right?
What a memory!
Is that right?
Yeah,
and what were the choices? It was a yellow 275.
No, it's close. I know where you're going with this, but I'm gonna make it how it happened. So
I like that. Very good.
Yeah, please.
Right, so there was a dealership. It was called SD Zipper, and it was on the corner of Wilshire and Doheny. And I had just bought. It's a long story, but I just bought a little Porsche there. Actually, a 912. And I was in there getting it serviced, and this was, I want to say this was in '68, and in drives a bright yellow Ferrari 275 GTB4, and I thought it was the second coming. It was like, oh my God! Can you imagine that? And I just fell over it belonged to a fellow named Bill Doheny. And Greystone and Beverly Hills,
from the
Doheny Drive,
family.
oil man.
I used to live there. We both used to live there. We're both Doheny.
So I just said, oh my God! I didn't know how much these cars were, but I said, if you ever sell this car, you got to sell it to me like Mr. Big, right?
Right.
So in 1970, I got a call. You want this car? I said absolutely. Well, I paid I remember it to the penny, $10,750. And the market price was around $10,000 in 1970. Because a friend of mine, there used to be Jerry Siemens from Southwest Leasing. That used to be the big leasing company. Anyways, he said, Bruce, you're paying $750 too much. I said, no, I really want this car. It had 12,000 miles on it. It was bright yellow, and it was stunning. And so I bought the car, 1970. I still have it today. So I've had it almost 50 years. The big mistake I've made is selling stuff. If I could go back through my mistakes, just don't sell. Anyways, buildings or cars.
Right.
So I'd had the car about 6 months, and a local guy, and I forget his name right now.
He's bright.
Came to me and he said, I want to trade you that car for a GTO, Ferrari GTO. And I'm thinking to myself, and it was yellow. It was Tom Martindale. He was kind of a dealer, but he was representing me. He said, we want to trade you this car. This is a Ferrari GTO, Bruce. Do you know what that is? I go, looking at it. And I was not a Ferrarista. I wasn't anything.
Right.
I didn't know. And I'm looking, and here's a car with no roll-up windows. It was kind of a dull yellow. It didn't even have polished wheels. Are you kidding me? I like chrome wheels. And I look at it, you want to trade me straight across? And they had it advertised for $8,500. So, and if you want, I'll give you the ad, and you can post it on your thing, because I still have the ad for this GTO, which is now owned by Tom Price. So I thought, Mr. Smart, like the guy's trying to, he's
trying to hustle you. You're not going to get taken.
He's trying to make you rich for the rest of your life.
That's right. Anyway, so that was not my best decision.
So you said no. So was his pitch that your 275 had depreciated in value? That I know you paid
he really
this
didn't
for
have
it?
a pitch other than, he was more knowledgeable.
Right.
About the importance of it. But I was just looking. I had just emptied my savings account. That was my net worth, $10,750.
Yes.
And this guy wants to trade me an $8,500 piece of race car. Forget it.
Yeah, no, you made the right move,
fish.
kind of.
Did you say, well, I'll tell you what, I'll take the GTO and you give me $3,000?
No, Paul, I wasn't as smart as you, because I follow your Instagram. I was not a dealer and a wheeler. I just looked and I thought, that's not a good one. But I should have. In retrospect, I probably said, give me a few $1,000 and I'll take that thing from you. But I wasn't that smart, and I look at it, and
you still
you know
have
what?
the 275.
Truthfully, it wouldn't change my lifestyle today because I still have the 275. I'm sure I say I could.
It would only change your net worth.
It would only
$50 million.
You can't worry about that.
Who can worry about $50 million?
What? Yeah, what? That's
Fucking
just, you know what,
$50 million
nothing.
pocket change.
My family will worry about it. I'm not selling
But
anything.
you ended up with a GTO, and there is an urban tale about that. You do have a GTO, right?
No.
Short
wheelbase.
Oh, you have a short wheelbase. And somebody once said to me, "Well, he got that out of the government."
Oh no, the Testarossa.
That's the Testarossa.
That's the Testarossa. Yeah. I've thankfully, there have been some really bad drug characters out there, and I've gotten a couple.
So there is
cars.
a true story.
So that story is true.
100% true. So I bought my first Porsche from John von Neumann, who was the early distributor,
right, sure,
very
we know
well
who he
known
is.
guy, racer, and he had this silver Testarossa that by Ferrari's records, it's won more races than any other Ferrari. I mean, I don't know how they computed it. It was their calculation. And so, but I'd always loved this car, and he had it, back when I bought my Porsche from him, and I've always loved it. And so, when I started to have a few extra dollars, there were a couple of well-known kind of car hunter dudes. They'll find, you just say, "Look, I want this," and they'll go find it. So I said, see if you can find John von Neumann's Testarossa. Mm-hmm. So both of them said, "Sure, I'll find it." One of them was Symbolic, and the other one I was another fellow, Richard Freshman, and there were guys out there, that knew they could get anything done. So that independently, they both came back and said, "Bruce, that car's going nowhere." The good news is we found the car. The bad news is it's owned by Interpol. So that didn't sound like a ready dealership to me. So I waited, and it was probably another 5 years or so.
Uh-huh.
I get a call, "Bruce, that Testarossa that you want is going to government auction in The Hague, Interpol."
In The Hague.
In The Hague. Interpol had seized the car.
Not a bustling classic car market. The Hague.
And this guy, I think his name was Salzman or something. He's either I don't know. He was a European guy.
Mm-hmm.
But
He was a criminal of some sort.
He was a criminal. Yeah.
Boy, they sold
Big
it
time.
in Holland. There's
Big
no
time.
internet.
And
What
so
a
they
find.
probably had, I want to say 15 cars.
Right.
Some significant.
What year
cars.
is this?
I want to say this was in 2000.
Okay, so fairly
Maybe 2001.
recently.
Oh yeah. And so oh my God! And I was on my way to Goodwood. I was taking my Corvette to Goodwood to run Goodwood, and it was. I heard about this on a Wednesday, and the auction was Saturday. And so they said you have to have a certified check or a letter of credit for whatever you're going to bid, and they're going to open them on Saturday morning. And I'm going, holy cow! Where do I round up the money and time to get this deal done? So I called a friend of mine, who was a big time guy, and I said, I need a letter of credit for so much money. And he said, yeah, no problem. So he called his bank, Bruce is good for it, blah, 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 give him a letter of credit. So I contacted an attorney over in the UK, Martin Emerson, who was kind of the go-to car attorney. And I said, Martin, I want to put a bid in for the Salzman collection, the 57 Testarossa. So anyways, I put a bid in. Now I'm thinking like low bid, right? And because I don't think anybody even knew about this auction. I thought, like you hear guys buy buildings and nobody's even heard of the auction. So off I go to Goodwood. I get there on Thursday, and everybody's talking about this auction. I go, oh no, and it wasn't just my car, but they had a short wheelbase. They had some really fine stuff in there. So I had to kind of recalculate, and I thought, you know what? Okay, so I'm not going to get it for what I hope to get it for. I got to get closer to market.
Right.
So I raised my bid to what but who knew? I mean, nothing.
These were all closed bids. This wasn't a live auction. You got one shot.
When they open those envelopes, it's not like, okay, so
that's it.
You got one more best and final. It's
wow.
it's the deal.
So you're really kind of
all
guessing.
the cars,
right?
So it was a big deal, and you had Interpol and all that going on.
Do you remember what your first bid was before you?
Yeah, I do.
What was it?
I don't want to tell you. But it was.
Well, it's 2000. That's a lot. It's 20 years ago.
A long time ago.
Yeah, it was a long time ago.
But that's when the $1 million cars are paying $1 million for a car. It made you go, what? I'm not gonna. These cars aren't worth $1 million. They're cars.
Do you remember when somebody was a millionaire?
Yeah, right.
God, anyways, I still think it's. I didn't grow up with any money, and so I still think a millionaire is pretty cool. But anyways, so I raised my bid, and I that was on Friday. I raised my bid. Friday night, I couldn't sleep a wink. I just thought, Bruce, you've been wanting this car. You know, if you don't get this car, you got one shot at it. And so I called Martin, like, you know, dark 100 in the morning. I said, Martin, bid the whole letter of credit. I'm just going for it. And I got it.
Wow.
So and then it turned out symbolic. It came up to me. One of the guys that worked there said, Bruce, you got this Testarossa? I go, yeah. He said, do you want to, you know, make a few bucks and sell? I said, no. He said, I was the underbidder. I said, really? I said, how far under it? And he was only 50,000 under. I don't want to sound so cavalier, but you know, it could have been a near disaster for me because I love that car. That's the pretty, and that, by the way, is also on display at the Peterson right now.
There you go.
In the winning numbers. But that's the prettiest car I've ever seen, I've ever imagined, I've ever owned. I just look at that car.
And now worth what? 7 times what you paid for it?
I don't even know. You know, but I don't try.
And how does it be? We have to go because we've got this call coming in at 10. But
sure.
Let me just ask you, with Testarossas, how can you run those? Could you drive that car up to Monterey?
I drove it. We showed it at Pebble Beach, and I drove it home 2 years ago.
You
Come
did?
on.
Oh,
Without
no,
any trouble?
No trouble. Though, you know, when you win races, you got to finish, right?
Right.
No, that car I take out to Cars and Coffee out at Topanga. You know, I drive it everywhere.
My favorite
And I
thing
drove it to
when I know
Peterson.
you're coming to a Cars and Coffee, I always know that you have such a great way of making an entrance. We were up at Greystone for some pre-Cars and Coffee before the Greystone event, and sure enough, like 25 minutes in, you hear this noise. Everybody's already there, and then and there you are in the 250 short wheelbase. Everybody goes, Bruce.
It's the drive. It's all about
awesome.
the drive.
It was awesome.
And that in my age, you know, I used to save stuff and didn't want to put miles
Right.
on it and blah blah blah. Forget about it.
Forget
you know?
it. Who are you saving it for?
That's right. So I don't have. I really don't. I haven't calculated what my cars are worth. I just drive them. I enjoy them, and when I die, somebody else will have that.
Okay.
So
We'll do
you've
that
been.
after the
Well, I
show.
just want to say one last thing. You've
Okay.
been a car guy since how old?
Since my birth, really. I mean, I have loved cars, you know, since the 40s.
How does that work?
And it's in your DNA. Just, I mean, for me, it's not an investment. It's just living the life and loving what I do, and the cars are a big part of it.
There you go.
70 years of car love. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
God. more
Bruce
than
Meyer,
that.
ladies and gentlemen.
Well,
Bruce
you're so nice to
Meyer.
have me on.
Bruce
and,
Meyer.
And I love
No,
you
this
guys.
was great. I think you should come back. We've got
We have
we've
so
got so
many
many more
stories.
questions, and you have so many great stories. I've seen you host these events at the Peterson. I'm always impressed with your energy up there on stage. I'm like, you really know what you're doing up there. You've got this whole thing figured out. You're the prototype. You're the prototypical
You guys have it
guy.
figured out, and I'm just on for the ride. But thank you very much.
Thank you,
Happy to be
Bruce
here.
Meyer, and of course, get yourself into that Peterson Auto Museum. And if you're getting married, register at Gary's. That's what Spike did. All right, we'll be right back with the folks from Bird Graveyard. Hold on. Think of all the weird things you find in cars. I find Zuckerman's green teas all over the place. Zuckerman, please stop doing that. I'm not talking about your garden variety petrified French fries or melted crayons. I'm talking about snakes, bizarre trinkets, the kind of stuff that just makes you wonder about, folks. Another thing that makes you wonder, but in a good way, are Continental belts. Bet you didn't know they're OE in tens of millions of Chrysler, Dodge, Ford, and GM vehicles that roll off the assembly line. They're also OE on the majority of BMWs and VWs. Now Continental is launching the aftermarket multi-V belt with the OE pedigree. It's their OE Technology Series, belts that are phonetically engineered for perfect fit, form, and function. And Continental has an OE Technology Series multi-V belt for 98% of the vehicles on the road in the U.S. and Canada. That's Canada. Hey, you get enough surprises working on cars and trucks. A belt should not be one of them. Go with the Continental OE Technology Series multi-V belt, the belt with the OE pedigree. To get the full story, visit oetechnologyseries.com.
You're listening to Spike's Car Radio.
All right, we're back. Zuckerman, here we go. We've got
Okay.
the guys from Bird Graveyard on there.
Heroes.
Will, are they on the line? Hi, who am I speaking? Hi, this is Spike, and you've got Zuckerman here. And I don't know if you want to say your names. Are we doing this anonymously? Is this like a deep throat?
I prefer to stay anonymous. Just for the Yeah. I'm the guy from Bird Graveyard.
Awesome.
Will you even say what part of the world you're calling us from?
Yeah, right now I'm in New York City.
You're in New York City. You're a New York City guy. Well,
Yeah.
I love the Instagram site because you really captured my anger over these scooters. Tell us how you were inspired to start this Instagram site.
So about I'd say almost 2 years ago, a year and a half ago, I was living in Venice at the time, and me and a buddy would send pictures. These things became unveiled, and they just showed up on the street. And right from the jump in Venice, you'd see them in dumpsters and trees, like hanging off signs and stuff. So that kind of sparked our interest, and we just have a thread going back and forth of like just sending each other pictures, and we were like, "Hey, this would be pretty funny to put on online," and it kind of just took off from there.
You know, you sound so much like Spicoli in Fast Times at Ridgemont High,
Which is a good thing.
which is a good thing.
Yeah. Of course.
So this has steamrolled into you have almost 100,000 followers now, and you have a lot. I notice every time I go there, Instagram will say you're followed by these people. I always see somebody famous. Right now, it's saying Rory Carroll, who I know is an automotive writer, and Eric Kotzen, who's got he's a skateboarder, right? He's a surfer with his own line of.
No, he's a skateboarder.
He's a skateboarder, right?
Yeah, we're a big hit with the skateboarder.
I've seen Joel McHale liking posts, and I'll tell you, there's nothing
That's
more.
The talk soup guy, right?
What's that? Yeah.
That's the talk. No.
That's right. Yeah. Are you smoking weed right now, man?
No, I'm not. I'm thrown back by the talk soup guy following.
That's awesome.
Yes, you've tapped into the
really
zeitgeist.
see.
I want,
Yeah.
by the way, I'd like to see you start selling merch. We should get you involved with Blip Shift. But, I'll tell you from personal experience, Fridays, we have a little movie night at my house for my kids. It's the night they get to watch a movie. And then after, I show them Bird Graveyard clips.
Bedtime.
And we play some of the videos, and they're so funny, and they really also illuminate the danger of these things. You guys do such a good job. Now, how does it work? I sent you a picture and you posted it on your story, and I couldn't have been more excited to be included on your feed. But are you at the point now where you're just sifting through emails and direct messages?
Yeah, well, it's kind of the story's a little bit easier, but all the direct messages of like photos and videos, most of them get skipped over at this point because there's anywhere from on a good day, like 100 constantly coming in. So
Wow.
It's a lot to look at, and like this is kind of like a hobby. It's not like a full-time job, even though it sometimes it feels like it.
Yeah, no, you've actually captured something. I know here on the west side of LA, people are hotly debating these things. One side is saying this is good for everyone, and the other side is saying it's garbage and it's just slowing down traffic and the rest of it. I happen not to like the unregulated aspect of it, where these guys just throw stuff on sidewalks, or you wake up in the morning and there's 10 electric bicycles on your front lawn. I don't understand how that can happen.
I couldn't put my fucking trash out there like that.
Yeah. My favorite posts, though, are when girls are riding and crash, or tourists crash off the bike path and into the sand. I'm also a fan of the big drops. I get worried, though, somebody's going to drop her scooter on somebody's head. That I don't want to see. Have people been trying to find you to get you to stop doing this? Has Bird contacted you and asked you why you're doing it?
No, they actually blocked us on Instagram. We were blocked by them. At some point when we kind of started getting recognition, I would just go comment on their photos saying, hey, and like the wave emoji.
Yeah.
So that's why they blocked you.
I probably did that like 6 or 7 times, and I'd post it on the story for kind of like people to like laugh at.
Oh, that's really smart.
Everybody would go comment on it, like, Bird, you're a piece of shit. I'm going to find you.
By the way, I encourage everybody listening to do that right now. Here's a nice stat for you. You have more followers than Bird does. You're doing better than they are.
That was a big day. When that happened.
I love this guy.
Yeah, well, Mr. Spicoli, that's what we're going to call you. Thank you so much for calling into the show. Zuckerman and I think a lot of our followers and friends are big fans of yours, and we can't wait for you to take this to the next level. Do you have your eye on any other tech conveyances? Yeah, that is New York. Any other tech conveyances that are you going to broaden out past the Bird into these other things?
Well, I just want to do this job well. And then we'll start talking about that.
That's awesome, man. Well, anyways, congratulations on and let's get him up to 100,000 followers, and we'll check in with you a little later on to see where you're at, my friend. But you're doing God's work. You're doing God's work.
Yeah, I appreciate it, guys. Have a good one.
All right, take care. Well, Zuckerman, there you go.
You made my day.
That made you happy,
I love
right?
this guy.
This guy's great, right?
Yeah.
I knew that was going to be good. And Bruce Meyer was great. It was a great show. Zuckerman, before you go, what do you want to pitch? Anything?
As I always say, just call me at the office if you've had an accident.
And you can reach me on Instagram. I like to talk and chat there. We also have a new shirt in the works I think you're going to like for Monterey Car Week. I'm not going to tell you
Top
what it is.
secret.
But we'll announce it soon. We'll see you next week on Spike's Car Radio. Quick before we go, 60 seconds. That's exactly how long this commercial lasts. You know what else you can do in about a minute? Get an offer with your car from TrueCar. That's right. In the amount of time it takes to floss your teeth, pet your dog, do a few sit-ups, just listen to my voice, you can get a true cash offer. Best of all, you can do it from your smartphone or at home. Just go to TrueCar and simply enter your license plate number and watch how your car's details pop up. Answer a few questions and you'll get an accurate true cash offer from local TrueCar certified dealer. It's that easy. After that, you can bring your car in and they'll check it out with you together, the two of you. You can even hug if you want. You can ask questions, get the answers you need, so there's no surprises, and simply leave your check or trade in your car for a new ride. So when you're ready to experience a new, better way to sell or trade in your car, check out TrueCar today.
Thanks for listening to Spike's Car Radio. Download new episodes every Wednesday on the Podcast One app or subscribe now at Apple Podcasts or PodcastOne.com.
AC 911, what is your emergency?
A brutal murder that took place in Washington, D.C.
To do what he did to 4 people, including a 10-year-old boy, is just beyond words.
A family and their housekeeper held hostage and tortured for 19 hours before their mansion was set on fire, with them inside.
It's just hard to imagine that such a nice family could be the victim of something so depraved.
In WTOP's 22 Hours, An American Nightmare, you'll be shocked by the new details of this heinous crime, and you won't believe how investigators brought the killer to justice.
He did not act alone, mark my words.
Download 22 Hours, An American Nightmare, with new episodes every Monday on Apple Podcasts and Podcast One.
Waiting on a tax return? Hopefully it ends up in your hands. Fraudulent tax returns due to identity theft increased by 30% in 2023. If you're in a bind this tax season, LifeLock can help. Our U.S.-based restoration specialists are experts dedicated to helping solve your identity theft issues. And all LifeLock plans are backed by the $1 Million Protection Package. So we'll reimburse you up to the limits of your plan if you lose money due to identity theft. Help protect your information this tax season with LifeLock. Save up to 25% your first year at LifeLock.com/aware.
Shopify helps you sell at every stage of your business. Like that, let's put it online and see what happens stage.
And the site is live.
That we opened a store and need a fast checkout stage.
Thanks. You're all set.
That count it up and ship it around the globe stage.
This one's going to Thailand.
And that, wait, did we just hit 1 million orders stage? Whatever your stage, businesses that grow with Shopify. Sign up for your $1 a month trial at shopify.com/listen.